Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in rainy yet still beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea, Florida. I'm just a few blocks down doing this report right now, and it is raining like hell, but that wind has backed off quite a bit, and it's still a lot warmer than it is up north, 75 degrees right now. Off to my first thing. I owe you guys a big apology, and I screwed up yesterday, and I called gold price. Well, actually, I called it at, hang on one second here, I called gold at 1886 yesterday. That was definitely a typo. I don't know how I came up with 1886, but I did. I think it should have been 1826 if I remember correctly. Somehow I stuck in 1886, as you can see from yesterday's report, and I was wrong. My apology there. Sorry, didn't mean to screw you up there if I did. But the actual today, I did it right today, and the actual real gold prices today, based on my calculations and the little formula I've been using, the real spot gold prices, not the paper prices, this is my own calculation too, by the way, folks, is 1816 today, and I believe the real silver price is $30. Now I'm talking about physical silver, physical gold, the stuff you can hold in your hands, not ETFs or COMEX paper silver or other type paper instruments. I'm talking about the real stuff. And how I base these prices, what I've been doing is I've been going out and looking, seeing what the average wholesale buying price is for the least expensive of all the popular products. And in this case, I've mostly been using like gold bars, Perth and Australian mint bars, because they've always been cheaper than Maple Leafs. They've always been cheaper than gold eagles. And what I wanted to do is just use a fair calculation, trying to figure out what the real gold price is for physical gold. And so I'm using Perth. I'm actually using just gold bars by well-known mints that retail on the market, like Perth bars and Pamp bars and such. As far as silver goes, I'm not using silver eagles or silver maple leafs to determine the actual real silver price, because I just think their premiums are really high and it's the most popular product. I don't think it would be a fair assessment. So what I've been using is generic 1 ounce rounds, because they typically have always been the cheapest 1 ounce products to go out there and buy, besides 100 ounce bars and maybe 10 ounce bars. And so I'm using 1 ounce bars, and the current wholesale buy price on what 1 ounce bars are based on. And I'm not just talking about a couple individuals putting buy prices out on the CCE system or on the dealer system. I'm talking about what they really have to pay if they want to go out and buy large blocks of this stuff. And again, that's how I'm determining these prices. I'm determining today's prices based on what was it, 1791 when I last looked, and silver was 2750 or 2760 or something. I'm basing my new numbers right here. Silver currently sitting, real silver, physical silver, is currently sitting at $30 per ounce. Real gold spot price is probably like $18.16 per ounce, in my opinion. Again, sorry about that goof up, 1886. That is a pretty big goof up. And if you look, my average has been about 1820 lately, so I should have picked that up pretty good, but I did not. So let's move along from there into what we're going to talk about, and the whole reason for my doing these daily videos. These videos are really to make my local buyers. I started these videos to kind of reach out to my local community and the local buyers. I really have no intention, or didn't have any intention, for people outside my area to watch these videos. I kind of doing them to, when a customer comes in, or when they give me a call on the phone and they start asking me questions about buying precious metals, and hey, what's the best deal and all this stuff. I had this bright idea. If I do a video every day, and when a customer calls me from in town, I can just say, hey, go look at the video, and I'll explain what the best prices are and what the best deals are. That'll save me from answering a lot of questions. And I think the customer will be a lot happier when they come in, that a lot of their questions have already been answered by my videos before they come in. So that kind of leaves them more time to ask me what the best deal is, and maybe to ask me questions that are a little more or less basic than what they learn from my videos, or a lot of my videos. And we go into some in-depth stuff as well. But that's the reason I do these videos, and that's the reason I started them. And thank you for anybody outside my little community, my little area here, that is watching these videos. I really appreciate that. And if there's one thing you can take away from this, the other big thing for me is buying local, keeping your money local. This is nothing to say bad against the online retailers, the online sellers like APMEX, SD, JM, and the other guys that I mention all the time. They're good, admirable companies. However, I always point out that A lot of times your local dealer will beat their prices if you can find a good local dealer, and sometimes it might be worth a half-hour drive, an hour drive to find yourself a good local dealer. And they can meet or beat a lot of these prices that you see online. Their operating costs are probably a little bit lower, and again, the importance is, for me, keeping the money local. Well, without getting long-winded, this is my reason for doing this, is if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, and he will eat for a lifetime. And people that are taught to, you always remember who, I'm a fisherman, and I remember who taught me how to fish. And it's true, they taught me how to eat for a lifetime. I don't always catch fish, but you never forget the people who teach you how to fish. And that's why I'm here. Hey, it'd be nice kind of if you didn't forget me and one day say, hey, Brian, thanks for teaching me how to do gold and silver. Well, anyways, let's move along from here. Stocks slammed as Treasury yields explode higher. And I'm not really too concerned with stocks right now. And I know some of you are, a lot of you may be, because you have pension funds and you have all this. But I'm not here to talk about that. I don't know much about stocks and equities, very little, less than most people. And I'm not smarter than the average bear when it comes to stocks and equities. Maybe just a tad, but not much at all. But I'm not talking about stocks. This is the real key. Treasury yields explode higher. This has typically been not good for the price of gold and silver and precious metals. Because when Treasury yields get higher, people tend to kind of put their money into treasuries and such. So that's kind of spooked stocks as well, because people know that there's so much fiat money and so much printed money looking for places to go. It's looking for any returns that it can find. And people trust the U.S. government. People trust treasuries. So if treasuries start paying out more to people, that kind of frightens the stock market. And it should, but it hasn't frightened gold and silver people. And I'll tell you why it hasn't, because we know the game. I'm always saying, of course the game is rigged, but if you know how it's rigged, you can win. If you don't play, you're not going to win, obviously. But we know how the game is rigged. And this doesn't get any better. Just because Treasury yields are temporarily higher right now, what's that based on? Well, maybe a few more people are going to work, etc. But the amount of money printing that they did and that they're going to continue to do, destroying the U.S. dollar, the buying power of the dollar, there is no way, no matter even if employment ticks up a little bit, the economic scene looks better, the GDP looks better, stock markets keep flying, there is no way they're going to fix the dollar. It's done. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. Now, is the dollar worse than any other currencies in the world that are fiat? No. In fact, if you understand, if you've heard the saying before, the U.S. dollar is going to be the last horse to the glue factory. And that makes us a winner, because the last horse, the first horse to get there is not good. We'll probably be one of the last horses to the glue factory. But getting to the glue factory is never good for any of the horses, even the first place horse or the last place horse. Ultimately, it's a dirt nap. And that's where all fiat currencies are going to end up, as dirt naps. So we know the big and long-term picture, and we see it coming more and more. So these little spikes in treasuries and these spikes in economic GDP and all this stuff, it's, God, I feel like so negative by saying this, but, you got to look at reality in the face. And the reality says they're just not going to be able to dig their way out of this hole, folks. And this is the reason we own gold, silver, and precious metals. So the other thing to be said is that with stocks got slammed because the Treasury yields went higher, gold and silver didn't get slammed too bad at all, really, in perspective. And they typically do in this environment. But I really think that people are buying gold and silver, and that countries are buying it, elite is buying it. They're just telling you not to buy it. And that's why physical is so hard to get right now. It's in such huge demand. Not the paper, the physical. And there's a lot of reasons for that, I'm sure. Interesting thing, we've been talking about Bitcoin for a few days, and I saw this article, and I'm going to go up here and show you. It's on Zero Hedge. I love Zero Hedge, not because I think everything they say is correct or anything, but they just give you so many different viewpoints and opinions and narratives, unlike corporate media, which hands you one. They hand you one narrative, and they tell you you need to believe this, and they usually bring on somebody that argues that narrative but makes them look like an idiot. So corporate news, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, all these, and as far as I'm concerned, they hand you one narrative. This is why I like Zero Hedge. So many different ideas and narratives and thoughts and viewpoints, and they let me make up my mind. By the way, they didn't pay me to say that. I am a subscriber. I pay $1 a day, so I don't have to read their annoying ads. But you can read Zero Hedge for free. And again, this is The Death of Logic by ZH. I think it was on here the other night. A lot of good stuff in this article, and I don't mean to skip it over. In fact, I would recommend this as homework, The Death of Logic. It really is a good read. It's done by the guy at goldswitzerland.com. He writes some good, or they write some good stuff and put out some good stuff. Talks about history, experts, valuations still matter, preparing rather than timing the death of paper wealth, things that we've been talking about. Good article. Please read it if you get a chance after you watch my show. And then there's Bitcoin. Speaking of delusion, now you kind of get an idea where this guy's coming from here, but I kind of feel very similar to him. No conversation then in 2017 would be complete without addressing the current, yet logically defended sacred cow, otherwise known as Bitcoin. This is not the time or word count space to effectively unpack the myriad pros and cons as well as logic and delusion which mark the Bitcoin phenomenon. That's exactly what we're going on, folks. This is what I've been talking about for months and months and months. I'm not trashing Bitcoin, but it's in its infancy, in my opinion. And there's a lot of downsides, and there's some pros, too. But as McKay was quoted, and worth repeating here, such speculative cycles are not only common, but loaded with historical danger. We find the whole community today suddenly fix their minds upon one object and go mad in pursuit. That's Bitcoin and cryptos. That millions of people become simultaneously impressed with one delusion and run after it, till their attention is caught in some new folly more captivating than the first. Sound familiar? And again, crypto people are going to hate this, but please follow through. There is pros and cons to Bitcoins, and you got to know both if you're going to be a smart buyer or seller of Bitcoin even. From 17th century to tulips to 19th century railroads or 20th century tech stocks markets, historians know this fantasy pattern all too well. So, he's not just talking about tulips, he's talking about railroads, 20th century tech stocks. Market historians know that people get into a populist kind of trade, and they all pile into it. And let me continue here. Of course, Bitcoin is more than a tulip. Absolutely, I agree with that. And as Hussman himself confirmed, the blockchain algorithm itself is brilliant. Abso-freaking-lutely. There's big promise here in the future for us cutting out banks and middlemen. Maybe. And that's the other con, in my opinion, is I've always said that banks and government hate competition. So I'm a little concerned that banks are never going to let us deal from person to person and cut them out entirely of the picture. They're going to want a piece of that pie too, and government's going to want their tax money as well. If they don't take out over the entire crypto market, which is my opinion, I think governments and banks are going to take over the entire crypto market, stabilize it, use it for their own good and not for our good. They're going to use it for their own good. And then a thing like Bitcoin will be legal to trade in parts of the world, and it'll be more like a stock or something like that. Like a money market. People throw their money in and out. It'll go up and down. Let me not digress there. I too fully support underlying theses that fiat currencies and the central bank policies behind them are staggeringly weak and in need of an alternative approach, which is Bitcoin. I agree. I agree with the author here as well. But the irony as well as the delusion of the Bitcoin era boils down to this. No asset bubble like Bitcoin, despite the logic of its thesis and headline-generated confirmation of its supporters, as well as mysterious, and I made big points of this, mysterious creators. That bugs me the most, that Bitcoin has a mysterious creator. Nobody questions that to this day with the trillions being pumped into it, or billions. Can become a source of stability for something as critical as a national or global currency. And this is what I just spoke about a minute before when I said that banks and governments are not going to like that up and down for use of a currency. Bitcoin's going to be relegated to like a money market type deal. More people jump in it, the more it'll become worth. In my opinion, it's never going to be money. Bitcoin will never be money, folks. Sorry to say that, but it's true. Bitcoin will not go away, but its valuations will go both north and south in astounding ways, which by itself disqualifies this asset as a rational or even logical solution to an admittedly irrationally open, bogus global currency market. I'm going to take a breath here, take 3 seconds, reread this yourself. I'm going to reread it actually. By its valuations will go both north and south in astounding ways, which by itself, the up and down movement, the extreme up and down movement of Bitcoin disqualifies Bitcoin as a rational or even logical solution to even what we admit is a broken fiat dollar system. And that's more or less what it said. I just kind of changed it a little bit. Our antidote to the dying paper wealth of all global paper currencies, of course, is physical gold. This is no secret, and to some perhaps even an illogical and even outdated bias. Yet physical gold is far less sexy than current Bitcoin delusion gaining popularity. I disagree with that. Bitcoin's made by stars, colliding stars. You know, when I look at a piece of gold in my, not Bitcoin, gold, when I look at a piece of gold in my hand, I'm thinking like, man, two stars collided. And I'm holding part of that in my hand billions of years ago. I mean, that's so cool. I can't even see a Bitcoin. I wish I could hold a Bitcoin in my hand. Well, I could just go on, and we've talked about Bitcoin a lot yesterday. I thought this was a really good article, The Death of Logic and ZH. I think that's good homework for you. And to go over today's ZH articles, which I like to do, again, they don't pay me for this, but I have a paid subscription, and I like all the different viewpoints. I look every day for different viewpoints and ideas, and I look for a lot of precious metals and Bitcoin articles, which you'll find in here. Nothing too much in precious metals. A lot of things that affect precious metals: stock slammed, anatomy of a bubble and crash, futures, MicroStrategy. And if anyone doesn't think the whales are in the Bitcoin business, trust me, they are, and they eat small fish like us. So that's another good reason to believe that market's pretty much done for the small guy. And unless you figure out how they rig the game, and then you can kind of like follow them. And not too much, again, as I said, in ZH. It looks like Bitcoin did bounce above 50,000. I think it was down below that a little bit, but tough to say. Let me move along from here. And again, not many news stories on silver. Ahead of Mark's Comics, silver deliveries, that's probably pretty boring and very technical, so I won't go into that with you right now. But again, if you have a ZH article, feel free to read that. I'm going to show you something that we've been looking at for months and months and months and months. I've been noticing it for the last year, the direct relationship between the dollar index and the gold charts. Let's take a look at this morning. I'm on the one-day chart. 8 a.m. What is it between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. Or between 4 a.m. and opening of New York that it always seems to go crazy, either with the U.S. dollar or with gold. And that's when things really happen. Look before that. It's like a pattern. I notice it all the time. Maybe just U.S. markets just are like roller coaster rides every morning when they open. I'm not quite sure. But it usually starts around 4 a.m. And then today it looks like it started around 8. But 4 to 8 is usually when the action in the dollar happens, and usually when the action in gold happens as well. Looks like a little bit later today. But look at the direct correlation with the gold price. Check this out. 4 to 8, not much happening, even though we did have, same thing, 4 to 8, not much happening in the U.S. dollar. And then after 8 p.m., boom, the U.S. dollar takes off. What does gold do? 4 to 8 a.m., same thing, not much action there. Boom, dollar. This is a pattern I've noticed. What is your thoughts? Any of my viewers out there, what's your thoughts of this pattern that I've noticed for the last year? You could almost take those two charts and put them, and they'll link together like a puzzle. Take one, invert it, put it upside down, and it fits into the other almost perfectly for the whole last year that I've been looking at it. So that's one of the things I've been looking at every morning too, kind of just to see what's happening and why gold's going down. Hey, best deals out there right now are gold maple leafs, although I think gold bars are a better deal if you can find them. But right now, the most popular product out there is for coin products are maple leafs. I have really good prices on them. I can beat the hell out of anybody else's prices online and even locally. So I can beat all the big dealers for sure. Same thing with silver. I can beat all the prices out there in silver. Looks like JM Bullion has the best deal on silver eagles right now. I've seen this as high as 38 to 42 bucks as of recent. There still might be out there at some of the other online retailers at 38 bucks, but JM has the best price for silver eagles online at 36.74. And guess what, folks? I can still beat that by $1 an ounce. The best people it looks like the best sellers in the country, or the cheapest sellers on U.S. Silver Eagles right now, out of all the big guys, I'm talking about people that have a lot and can ship it out, you can trust, they've been around for a while, is JM, and I can still beat their prices by 99 cents an ounce. So if you live in my neighborhood, make sure you come and see me. Don't go anywhere else. I'll give you a much better price. If you don't live in my neighborhood, as I've always said, try to buy local. If you have to drive an hour to find a good coin shop or bullion shop, do it. Keep the money as local as you possibly can. Keep it in your area, your county, even your state if possible. But if you don't have any good local dealers, JM, APMEX, and SD are some of the better sellers online in my opinion. Whew, boy, I got to take a breath here. Maybe even a sip of coffee. Again, as I said, I do have random date silver eagles. My prices are cheaper than anyone locally and any of the big retailers online. My prices are definitely cheaper than that. And you know, one thing I've never mentioned too, folks, don't buy or sell a bullion on eBay. Just don't do it. Trust me on that. Between the fees and everything else, never buy bullion on eBay. Hold on, NB buy bullion on NBBON on eBay, on OE, I'm sorry. That's going to be my initials. Never buy bullion on eBay. Let's take a look at spot prices here. I'm going to do a quick refresh because I haven't refreshed this in about 20 minutes. And let's see what's happened in the last 20 minutes. Right now, it's a static screen. I like this because I don't like the screen moving around when I'm talking to you guys. And also the spots are very reliable here, even though it, again, is a static screen. 1790.96 and 27.66. Let's see what it's done in the last 20 minutes. I'm going to do a quick refresh on there. Up or down? What do you think? I'm going to say down. And just because the markets and everything seems to be a little crappy. No, it's up $1 from there, and silver's up a tiny bit too. All right, well, I'm not the genius I thought I was. I thought I could make myself a guess into the future, or the past, because I haven't looked yet. Well, so anyway, it looks like gold traded in a range of 17, that's quite a range too, 1784.37 to yesterday at 1814 to the high. That was probably last night or something. And currently at 1791.21. But as I said, that is a paper price as far as I'm concerned. The real price of gold right now is 1816 in my opinion. I'm going to stick with that. Same thing with silver. Silver 27.35 to 27.96. Right in that range, and that's a pretty good range too. I mean, but silver hasn't been making those wild swings lately. In fact, silver has in the past made those $1 and $2 and $3 swings in a day or two, but it's kind of been very mild lately. But still, that's a pretty good range. Sitting at 27.66 currently, but I'm calling the real price of silver, the real price of physical silver, at $30 an ounce. Gold seems to be getting easier to get. Product seems to be loosening up. There's more gold and silver products out there available, whereas we were starting to see, some of the stuff was getting hard to find, and the premiums it's still kind of crazy, but the premiums are way high. But I think gold is becoming a little bit more available, except for the U.S. mint products. I'm starting to see 1 ounce bars and other products drift into the marketplace, and at little lower levels. And again, that's why I'm calling gold at 1816 and not higher. And again, silver still seems a little bit tough to get, but there seems to be product available as well. Not so much silver eagles. Silver eagles still seem to be tough to get, but 1 ounce generic seems to be coming out. Occasionally 90% pops up. They're way better deals than silver eagles, but it is what it is. Platinum at 12.58. Platinum was over 1,300 at one point, and it looks like it's trading in a $30 range. I think right now with treasuries up, I'm really surprised gold. With the where's that article that we were just looking at? You killed the little guy. You killed the little guy. Like yields, treasury yields. With treasury yields up a little bit, that really I think should have destroyed gold prices, silver prices, and platinum prices a little more than it did today. I mean, so it's good strength. When you got the stock, when you got the tech market kind of crashing, you got other markets kind of falling right now, and Bitcoin kind of wobbling right now. Crypto markets, metals are holding their own pretty damn good considering everything right now. And as I said, these are paper prices. I think the real prices are much higher based on physical metals. Well, what article did I miss over here? The death of logic. No, I didn't miss that. Stock slammed. You killed the little guy. Oh, yeah, we already talked about the Z-Edge news for the day, but this was kind of funny. You killed the little guy. I'd like to see the interview between Vlad Tenoff. You can watch it here, by the way, on ZH, and Dave Portnoy. Both millennials. This kid looks like he just started shaving, and he's worth millions and millions. I really admire genius people like that are able to be in the right place, right time, and make a lot of money like this kid has. But you know what he still lacks? Wisdom. And this Dave Portnoy guy, I don't know much about him, but he seems a little obnoxious to me. I'm sorry. Maybe he's not. Maybe he just comes across that way. No less, he looks like he lacks some wisdom, but has a little bit more than a Tenoff kid. But God, I'm not even talking about precious metals. This is like gossip hour. So let me move on from there. Sorry to make this report so long. I didn't mean to add that in too. I'm sure you didn't need to hear me discuss these two guys. So that's really about it. I think we're going to see markets sideways right now, trading in a $10 range, up or down with gold and silver. I think we're going to stay in this $27, $28 range. Platinum, same thing. I think we're going to stay in this $12.50 range here, at least for a day or two. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe it could get monkey hammered tomorrow if treasuries are a little bit stronger, if the market looks a little bit stronger. Well, that's really about it. This is Brian Kuzma with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. I really appreciate you watching the videos. And as you know, I'm a local business, brick and mortar. I only deal locally, so I don't do any online sales or phone sales. So if you want to buy from us, sorry, I can only do it if you're face-to-face. We do cash and carry up to $10,000 per customer. Anything over $10,000, we do checks and local personal checks only. Delivery is 8 to 10 business days. And we can discuss that with you more later. Hey, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this show. All the people that give me great reviews too on my website. If I can do anything to help you, call me anytime between 10 and 4, Mondays through Fridays at 954-493-8811. I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate all the views, and even you people outside my area. I'm just really blown away by all this and all the views I'm getting. No less, this show is really focused on my local peeps, but I'm glad you folks are learning something as well. I hope you take it to your local coin shop first and deal with him and keep that money local, as I've always said. Hey, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day, and if anything crazy happens today, I'll do another video today. If not, I'll be back tomorrow. Good day.